cricket world. Now the rules seem coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt. Oh, and it's just me. Santoki is not here. It's just me, people. Check it out. Brand new mic. We've upgraded out here. Big up to David, who listener support of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. This is his. He messaged me. So let me just tell you the story. He messaged me maybe about a month ago and said, listen, I've got a spare mic, which I don't need. I think he works in like something in the media, I think. And it's like, I've got a spare mic that I don't need. Your podcast could really do with an upgrade in terms of a mic. I don't know how it's sounding to you lot, by the way, because obviously I can't hear myself. So let me know in the live chat if it's coming across clean and fresh. So anyways, he said, listen, let me send you one. I said, bro, like, you're too kind, man. And he was like, no, I'll send it. It'll really help your podcast, you know? And so I sent him a Caribbean Cricket Podcast sweatshirt as a thank you for it, you know? I mean, I'm still up. This might cost more than a sweatshirt, so I'm up. But David is up as well because he's got a Caribbean Cricket Podcast sweatshirt. You know what? Let me look at the one second. People, Caribbean Cricket Podcast sweatshirts out here. What's this? This is an XL. Sweatshirts are out here, people. I don't know if anyone can hear me on the mic. If you want one, get at me. Ahead of the World Cup, you don't want one in the Caribbean, but you do want a sweatshirt in general. Those of you who are in England tour, you need your colours, you know. I've got XL. What have I got? I've got XL, double XL, large, medium. I think we're all out of small. Might even be out of large. I need to double check. So if you want one, get at me, DM me. Still got some sweatshirts. So yeah, we're out here, you know, live show. You can see behind me covering up the West Indies shirt. So people, maybe you wonder what are my different shirts here. First and foremost, I've got the Talawars shirt, the defunct, non-existent Jamaica Talawars. I've got that one. Then I've got the West Indies shirt, but pride of place right now is the Bromley Football Club shirt. Bromley are up. We are up. For those of you who don't know, if you came on this live show today, wanted to talk about cricket, we can do that. But Bromley are up. We are officially one of the 92 clubs in the English Football League. For those of you who don't understand that, because you lot probably just watch Premier League on like TV or illegal streams. You have the Premier League, Championship, League One, League Two, National League. I've been watching Bromley since I was 14 years old. I won't give away my government age, but it's a long time. And they've always been a non-league football club. They were founded in 1892, and they've never ever been in the Football League in their 132-year history until Sunday. Sunday, we won the National League playoff final. And we are now officially a League Two team. So all of you lot who love to play FIFA and all that, my team will be on FIFA. All of that type of stuff. But yeah, it was amazing. Wembley was amazing. I've hurt my shoulder. Tried to crowd surf after the winning penalty went in. And I landed awkwardly on one of them plastic chairs. My shoulder is out of commission. But it was all worth it, you know. No, victory comes with pain, you know. Anyways, let's get into it, people. Caribbean Cricket Podcast Mondays, live chat, all of that. What time is it? It's 8 minutes past 10. I did it a bit earlier today because I want to go to bed earlier. 8 minutes past 10 on a Monday. I want to be in bed by 11 o'clock, people. So let's try and get through this one. What is there to discuss? Okay, West Indies A beat Nepal 3-2. Hayley Matthews is the GOAT. The World Cup squad has been announced. What else has been new in the last week? I mean, some of you probably are IPL fans. That IPL's been going on for ages, man. I don't know how you lot. I literally don't know. I get it, right? I get that the IPL is supposed to be like the NBA of cricket, and that's how they're trying to position it. But I don't. You lot, obviously, outside of Indian fans, you lot who aren't Indian fans, who IPL is primarily for, how do you last the course for IPL? Like, because most of the T20 leagues are over within a month. We've been past the month stage for IPL, and I'm not sure I even know what's going on anymore, because after a while, it just becomes like, sorry, when you've seen one T20 game, you've kind of seen them all, right? And if you have a tournament, and again, we know what they're trying to create with IPL. If you have a tournament where every team is playing 14 games, it just in cricket. We're talking about cricket. We're not talking about basketball, which is established in the kind of global consciousness, or American. Even American football is only 16 games before the playoffs, right? Like, we are not conditioned yet in cricket to accept a cricket league going on for longer than a month. We haven't reached there yet, because the T20 bubble for me isn't sustainable, right? It's not sustainable enough to keep our interest past a month. Obviously, I'm not talking about the Indian fans. I'm talking about the rest of us. What's your excuse to still be watching these games day in, day out? Like, this is why I think there's going to be a renaissance for Test cricket, because like I say, T20 cricket is too similar. And this year's IPL, you've got teams hitting like 260 every game, and it's like, what is this, man? This ain't fun. This is just runs for the sake of runs, right? And that's not me digging out IPL. IPL's got its time and place, but they're going to extend it. That's the thing. They're going to extend it past what it currently is. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, am I the only, like, how many of you, like me, are just wishing for the World Cup to come along? Like, there are issues with international cricket, but at least it's got meaning. At least there's some kind of context. At least there's some kind of I want my country to do well type thing. Like, respectfully, I don't care what Rajasthan man are saying, or what Gujarat man are saying, or Mumbai man. Like, I don't care. It's got no significance or meaning to me. Much less there's not really any West Indian man in the competition to begin with. So why would I care, if that makes sense? I don't know, man. I just need this England tour to hurry up and come, the Test series and the World Cup to hurry up and come, so that cricket has some level of interest, like meaningful interest, to me. Anyways, there's IPL. Jaden Seals took a fifer the other day. We could talk about that. The more and more Jaden Seals does well, it's not even about doing well. He's one of the top wicket takers in county cricket this year. Well, in League Two. In fact, in Div 2, he's probably the top wicket taker or top pacer in Div 2 right now, right? Maybe top 2, top 3. The more Jaden Seals does this, the more the argument becomes that one of Roach, Shamar, Alzari, I guess we better throw a holder in there, shouldn't play versus England. Seals's wickets in England means his metric is higher than all 4 of them. So there's an argument to say, well, boy, someone might have to go hold a drop when England come along. Santoki's going to be at Surrey on the weekend. Surrey are playing Worcestershire, I believe. So Santoki's going to try and get some words with Jason Holder, because that should be Holder's last game before going back to the Caribbean for the World Cup camp, I would believe. I'm going to be at Northants versus Gloucestershire this weekend, but unless you count Emilio Gay, there's no West Indian interest there. And then lastly, I guess we could talk about the World Cup camps and all that. Anyways, enough. That's enough of an intro. Hit the like button, people. Like, share, subscribe, all of that. Where's the thing? Let's just get straight into the live chat. Yeah. Let me take some comments. I didn't even think that there's so many of you just doing comments. Glenville Hazel says, Bromley FC League 2, here they come. 100%. 100%. The thing about Bromley, right? Now we're a League Two club. The problem is now we're going to become like, and because we're in London, we're based in Southeast London. You're going to get a lot of I don't want to call it glory hunters, but you're going to get a lot of kind of social media meme hunters who are now going to think it's cool to go and watch Bromley because it's accessible. It's a London club. We're in League Two, where you're going to start seeing people say, "Oh, it's really cool to watch Bromley." When I first started watching Bromley 28 years ago, the average attendance for a match was 350, right? 350 man, and we were 4 divisions below League Two. All of a sudden now, watch what happens next season. We're going to be averaging like 3,500, and bare tourist man going to be coming saying, "Oh, this is really cool watching Bromley in League Two. This is so special." I have to put up with all of them man now trying to hijack the team. But this is what happens in this social media culture where people want clout, and watching a small club achieve something brings clout for people. That's why. So Joe Bob summed it up. Everyone jumped on the Wrexham hype when Ryan Reynolds and them man did the Wrexham thing. Everyone jumped on the hype. So that's what happens. Anyways, let's move. Let me put this thing in the chat. A couple of you Manchester United man are down bad. You're down horrendous. There's loads of you in this chat are Manchester United fans. You might as well come watch Bromley, to be fair, because we win more than you lot. You might as well just come watch us because you lot are down horrendous. Right, okay. Links in the chat. Whoever wants to come chat, click the link, so on and so forth. Right, so Mike S, thank you for the super chat. Mike S says, why are we seem to be bashing the large Guyanese contingent at this T20 World Cup? Guyana has only Guyana has only had one representative in T20 World Cup since 2012. The one and only Mr. Drama Man Hetmeyer. Are we bashing the Guyanese contingent? What do you mean by bashing, though, Mike? Are we bashing them? Who are we bashing? If you mean, okay, so I mean that's a talking point then. So are we saying that Hetmeyer should be in the World Cup squad? We discussed it last week, to be fair. Most of you, it was about 50-50. The reality is, Mike, Hetmeyer is a polarizing figure. He's a divisive is probably too strong a word, but he's a polarizing figure in West Indies cricket. There is no grey area with Shimron Hetmeyer. You either think that he is, you either think that he's been given too much rope and that we have to put up with too much nonsense to justify all of the hype around him that comes with extra baggage. So you're either on that side of the coin, or you're on the side of the coin where you're like, oh, he's so good, he's so brilliant, his ceiling is so high, stop getting on the man's back, he should just be in every single West Indies team. The way I've always said it about Shimron Hetmeyer is quite simple for me. The level of conversation that goes with Hetmeyer, you would think he was Viv Richards. The amount of column inches he fills, the amount of podcasts like this that he fills in terms of noise, the amount of drama that comes with anything to do with Shimron Hetmeyer, you would think he was the absolute Don Dada of West Indies cricket. But when you study Shimron Hetmeyer's numbers, he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing anything that justifies the amount of noise that comes with him, right? Is he one of the top 15 white ball T20 players in the region? Probably, based on what he does in IPL. But if you perform when IPL comes around, but when West Indies comes around, you can't perform, how long is the rope that you get? Like, I don't get it. Everyone's got to be held to some kind of metric. It can't just be, well, because you're seen as this global figure and Indian man want to suck your toes and so on and so forth. Like, it can't just be that you just get in the West Indies team off the back of that. Like, you still have to perform for West Indies. You can't just keep turning up and you don't do anything. He's got to be held to the same metric that everybody else is held to. But every time his name is mentioned, it's like a bag of noise just has to come along with it. Well, I don't know. As for Shamar Joseph, I'm not bashing Shamar Joseph's inclusion because on one hand, I get it. I get why they've done it. I just think it's a gamble. And I think I think people should just admit it's a gamble because there's no actual logical justification for it. And I stress that word, logical. By logical, I mean show me the stats. Show me something that you can point at and say it's definitely going to work. And we don't have anything. So it's a gamble. I've got no issue with it, but just admit that it's a gamble and it could come off. It might not come off, but it's just a gamble. Right, okay. Anyways, Mike, that's me. Let's move to the chat. We've got two people ready to come on the show, so let's do this. Sorry, Mr. Brown, I'm coming to you. Sorry, just get us. Anish, thank you for the super chat. Says, are you excited for the T20 World Cup? Who's your top 4? That's a good talking point for today. Actually, I might ask everybody that who comes on the show. Reality is we don't know. Australia, definitely, because them man have a winning culture. Australia. There's usually one shit team that makes it into the top 4. Australia. T20 is so random, though. I'm going to just say randomly now. Australia, South Africa. Could be anybody after that. Australia, South Africa. Australia, let's say England. Australia, South Africa, England, then anybody else for that last spot. Could be anybody. Obviously, you lot are expecting me to say West Indies, but it could be anybody. Okay. The only team that I think in this World Cup that you can guarantee will be in the Final 4 is Australia. That's the only team I would be willing to put money on and say they'll find a way to get to the Final 4. I don't think any other team you can say for certain, like any other team, if they got knocked out, like, see, I knew it. So Jay was like, what about India? Them man are chokers. Them man are big chokers out here. I'm not even calling India's name. Them man don't know how to get things over the line. So I'm not calling them either. The only world international team that knows how to win is Australia. So you've got to call their name and their name only, right? Right, let's move. Let's get Mr. Brown on the show. Yes, Mr. Brown, how you doing?
Good evening.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, big up to Bromley and the league promotion last night. Yeah,
big things happening.
Yeah, man. I can see you replaced the shirt already behind you.
Yeah, West Indies shirt can't come on the show no more.
So, when it comes to like being promoting to the league now, does that mean like much more resources, like revenue wise?
It's interesting. So football isn't really a money-making business. That's the thing. And at Bromley's level, the biggest thing that will happen is we suddenly get what we call like EFL payments. So promotion into the Football League means that the kind of retainer payment that you get for just being a Football League club compared to the National League, which you are in, it's like a 10-fold increase. So that's massive.
Yeah.
Then you'll get the TV games that we may or may not get on Sky Sports, for example. Will be in new cup competitions, the League Cup, the Football League Trophy, and so on and so forth. But we also had a 4G pitch, so we played on artificial turf, which is allowed in the non-league, but it isn't allowed in isn't allowed in the Football League. So we starting from tomorrow, they're ripping it up. They're taking it out, and that go on.
Who's paying for that?
We are. Really? So that's what I'm saying. Okay. So as much as I can say, the money's in to take up that pitch and now put grass back in, there is a significant outlay involved in that.
Yeah. But I hope it's good for the community though. Around the area.
100%. The first task is to just stay in the league and not get relegated immediately.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. But anyways, when it comes to your question about the top 4 in the World Cup, obviously Australia, but I reckon maybe New Zealand might sneak in somewhere there. Yeah. There's always a chance there's going to be SA or England, South Africa or England. But I'm thinking between the 5 of Australia, England, New Zealand, and India, I would say the 4 will come from those, I'm guessing. Obviously, I'd love to say West Indies, but I'm not 100% certain at this point. So, yeah, I still in the World Cup though.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like? I'm a bit concerned with when it comes to the openers.
Okay.
Because we've got King and Charles. Mayer's got dropped. Understandably so. But I feel like they wanted to reach out to Lewis to try to get him back into the fold, but for some reason he didn't go to Nepal.
Mm-hmm.
So as a result, Charles has taken the opportunity to be fair. He did do reasonably well in Nepal. Now he's back into the team opening. I just worry that what if there's an injury? We have a situation where, like you suggested last week. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what? So what do you think will happen? Let's say Brandon
Yeah.
King breaks down in the first game. What do you think is happening?
Yeah, like you suggested last week, Shea Hope to open. I wouldn't necessarily be a big fan of that, but I could see that happening. And then, Hetmeyer would come up earlier as opposed to being like just the finish and stuff. So, that's my big concern there, as well as the bowling department towards the back end, the death overs. Because I see that they didn't pick Obed McCoy. So I'm like, okay, are they really going to throw in, Shamar Joseph, who is still pretty inexperienced to bowl the death? You know what I mean? So I feel like Obed, it's quite unfortunate for Obed though, because he had a good run a few years ago, and then the injuries kind of derailed his thing, So, anyways, let me hear your thoughts on that before I continue.
So I would assume that Shea Hope is the backup opener. However, I'm now starting to wonder if they have plans to make somebody a pinch hitter at the top. So, and I don't know who that might be. I mean, maybe that's why Hetmeyer's in the squad. I don't know. Maybe we'll know more when that South Africa series happens. If they experiment, I think we've got 3 games against South Africa, and I think they announced last week that we've got a game against Australia. I think that's in Port of Spain, as part of the warm up thing or something or other. Yeah. So I wonder if they'll try a pinch hitter at the top. But the only reason I've got an issue with that is they had all those games against England and India last year. They had a chance to look at things. We had a 5-match series against England. They had a chance to look at things then. I don't know. There's an element of it of what's the word I'm looking for here? There's an element of desperation where it's like, boy, what do we do now? I know, let's bring in Shamar Joseph and Shimron Hetmeyer. We don't really have a logic to explain it, but we're just gonna bring them in. So
vibes.
Listen, Johnson Charles and Brandon King to me are 1 in every 3 guys. When they come off, they come off. But I don't know if you I don't know if you can put bankers on them. And this is my issue in a long World Cup, irrespective of if one of them gets injured or not. In a long World Cup, where we're going to play a minimum of 4 games in the first round, if we get through, we then play 3 games in the Super 8s, I think it is. That's already 7 games before you get to a semi-final. Someone loses form. That's my issue. Someone loses form. So what's the? I mean, have they thought of what is Plan B if Plan A doesn't work? And I want to believe that they have thought about this rather than just selecting some players. I want to believe that there is a plan. I want to believe that they've already looked at it and gone, right, these are our Plan A death bowlers. And if it doesn't work, this is Plan B. But I would love to know what Plan B is for the death bowling, because Plan A already looks a bit suspicious as it is. So what's the Plan B? If our death bowling falls apart early in the tournament, what's Plan B?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I say though, it could all come off. We could all just be speculating, and it could all come off, and it could all be all right.
That's true, but I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with the rapper Heady One, where he went to the famous quote in an interview where he's like, "It's a bit of a sticky one still."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's how I feel about the situation. And the final thing I want to throw out, I feel like when you go to England, given how well Jaden Seals is playing now at in that Division 2 club, is it
Sussex?
Sussex, yeah. I reckon they're gonna drop Alzari for one of these games as a fast bowler. Because given we have 3 really fast bowlers nowadays, Shamar Joseph, Jaden Seals, and Alzari Joseph. Considering that Alzari Joseph is also playing in the World Cup, which is not too far from the England series, I reckon he might get rested one of these games. And the last time we went to England, we didn't. Did we rotate the fast bowlers? I don't believe we did.
We didn't change anything.
And it was an issue, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now we have better problems in that sense. Now that Jaden Seals is fit, he's taking wickets. So I reckon Azar would have to sit out one of these games. I don't see them dropping Shamar Joseph with his pace, and Azar and Jaden Seals with how he's behaving in English conditions. I think he'll be valuable.
I hadn't thought about the impact of the World Cup. I mean, it all depends on how far we go in the World Cup. But let's just say, argument's sake, we did go far.
Go to the finals.
So the World Cup ends when? Sometime near the back end of June, 27th maybe. Anybody in the live chat right now who's got someone find the end date, the final, the date of the final for the World Cup. What I do know is the first warm-up game is on the 3rd of July. So it could surely only be like a week gap between the final of the World 29th. So the final of the World Cup is on the 29th of June. The first tour game in England, or only tour game, is on the 3rd of July. So if we did get to the final, that's a 3-day turnaround for Alzari Joseph, Jason Holder, and Shamar Joseph. So so I think just based on that alone, assuming we went far in the tournament, Jaden Seals probably ends up playing the first test. Just based on that alone. And Kemar Roach will play the first test also because he's in England. So I think you can guarantee that Roach and Seals probably end up playing the first test. How they fill the other spaces, well, that's open for debate.
Yeah, I once heard some people talking about you drop Kemar Roach, and like how in which world does it make sense to drop Kemar Roach in English conditions? It's like the only place he performs outside of Barbados, really. So it's like it makes no sense. Obviously, he's starting, and I forgot my other point, but I think I covered my points.
Yeah, for sure. I think ending on that final point that you said there, I do just wonder if it's probably not specific to us within the Caribbean or as West Indies, but I do note in West Indies cricket that we love to prematurely retire a player and say that they're just no good and we've got no use for them anymore.
But they're done.
So you see how England still have Jimmy Anderson playing because they still see the, irrespective of age, like he's still effective in certain situations. Whereas
at the age of 50, the guys who are playing for England now who weren't born when he made his debut. So I definitely see what you mean.
Yeah. Whereas once you get to 33 in the West Indies, people just want to finish your career for you. You're done. You're toast. No more cricket for you.
And the funny thing is that it's like when these West Indies players only get into their prime, into their early 30s, So what are you trying to say? And do you know the reason why the CWI wanted to reduce the length of the tour game to 3 days?
Did they tell me? All I know is that West Indies requested it. I'll find out. By next week's show, I'll have the answer. I can't remember if they told me the specific reason. I took it to be because they wanted more of a rest and recuperation ahead of the start of the first test, because the test against the Lord's test starts, I think, on the Thursday, and the tour game would have ended on the Saturday. So I think they just wanted I think based on him, or what was implied to me, was that they felt it was too short a gap if they did a 4-day game in terms of the right preparation for the Lord's test. But I don't know. I'll find out.
Yeah, fair enough. Did you see Jofra Archer playing cricket in Barbados?
Yeah, I saw that. No, let me be quiet. I was about to say something reckless. Let me be quiet. I got no comment.
But it's good stuff. Anyways, thanks for having me.
No worries.
And
Yeah.
last time I spoke to you, you were doing the job thing, and now congrats on the Bromley thing. So you're up this year.
Yeah, I'm up. Maybe West Indies will finish it off me
You know,
this year. Who knows?
forget Man United. Forget West Indies. Needs to be enough. All right, cheers.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
Listen, yeah, thank you. Yeah, much appreciated. Right, who's up next? Richard, you're up next. Richard's up next. Who have we got? So we got Richard, Sachin, Kevin P, and the game. The game. We've had the Rock on here. Now we got the game on here. Game's gonna drop a couple bars. Enter the Drake and Kendrick beef. Anyways, G Unit. Let's move, Richard. Yes, Richard. What are you saying?
Hey, good evening. This is Richard from Virginia. So let's start with the top four. So the top four is India, England, Australia, and West Indies, of course. I would have put New Zealand in there, but I don't want to put New Zealand since they're in the same group with West Indies. So
I hear you.
So before this show, I was watching the New Zealand series you played some time ago, and guess who was our opening and dead bowler? It was Drake's. Where is Drake's?
What, Dominic
Where's
Drake?
Dominic Drake's? He opened the ball in, went for 4 runs. He came back. He was before this program. I think he was at 10 runs, 1 wicket, and 2 point something over. And some reason there's no Drake's. He's a left-hand bowler. Suddenly he just disappeared. I don't know. Where is Drake's?
Do you know what?
Yeah.
I don't even know the last time I saw Drake's. So I just went on the last time Drake's was playing anywhere. Which down bad league is this? He was in that international Dubai thing in February. That's the last time ESPN has him down as playing any kind of cricket. I didn't see him playing any games in the regional 4-day, which suggests I don't know anything about an injury. If there's any Bayesians on here, maybe they can tell us. I don't know anything about any injury, but it's that classic thing though in West Indies cricket where players just disappear for a while, and you never get news kind of confirming where they're at or what's going on. But also, even if Drake's was around, one of the issues I've got with Dominic Drake's, I think he's got ability for sure, but what is Dominic Drake's? If I said to you right now, what is Dominic Drake's? What would you describe him as?
I'll consider him as a bowling all rounder.
Now, when you say bowling all rounder, I'm not disagreeing.
He's a I would say he's a medium. I think if we had worked with him for the last year, based on the New Zealand series and other series, I think I don't know if he's injured, but he's one of the person that has potential, and he can open the ball and he can bowl in the end. I just think it's typical where a player just disappears and nobody knows, no update. Even in today's day when everybody can communicate, like this is long-term planning. Obviously, if you look at the New Zealand series, the team has improved from then because we replaced Odim Smith with Russell. We replaced Walsh with Moti, and Drake's went out, which the replacement on Twitter, my team currently would have been McCoy. Right? Obviously, there's a mystery. I don't know what happened there, but it's really a good team, a good squad. If you look at it, I mean, as West Indian, we're always going to disagree. If we pick 10 teams, we will have difference in these teams. It's not easy picking players, right? So when we look at everybody's survey on the internet, most people add about 13 of these players, right? So the disagreement is with Myers. I look at Myers' record. Myers is the one who did not do himself any justice because Eddie Meyer was dropped for Australia. Myers, in the last 13 games, he had 1.5 century. So basically, they did a swap. They pick Eddie Meyer because they look at the IPL. He's playing. Myers is not playing. They go off for the IPL. Now, the whole issue about Eddie Myers, it doesn't mean Eddie Myers is going to play. It's a 50-man squad. He can sit on the bench, right? But you got to look at the IPL. The IPL is a big business, and if the IPL, Etimai is one of the few players who's playing every game. Even the Powell can get a game in front of Etimai, right? So the IPL treats this cricket as a big business model, and they do a lot of analysis because it's an investment. So sometimes I feel like the IPL has a weight in the way we pick player. If you have the
Mhm.
players who are playing in the IPL, it weighs because it's not just a fun thing for these guys. It's a big investment. So the fact that regardless of what we say about the role he plays or whatever, the fact that he's playing, I think he played Etimai played every game. So they're seeing something that we're not seeing, or he's just motivated just to play IPL because he doesn't perform when he comes back to us.
So
Right?
Richard, tell me this though. Hold on. I'm not disagreeing with you. So if we're looking at an IPL kind of premium, so why Shamar Joseph playing then? Or why
Um
Shamar Joseph in the squad? He's played one
so,
IPL game. So I can
so
understand your rationale for Hetmeyer. I get it. How does that rationale work for Shamar Joseph?
so in my squad there was no Shimarja. He was a reserve, but I think Sammy is going off for the Australia. I think Sammy's trying to bring that winning vibe around the team. I think
Mm,
that's what Sammy's doing. He's taking a gamble. Everybody knows Shamar is a gamble, right?
hmm
For all you know, Shamar might not even play the first couple of games because they might play three spinners. They might play Chase and the other two
mm,
spinners, and that
hmm
just leave Azari because he's captain, right? Russell is gonna play. Romario Shepard is gonna play. So Shamar might be just like the IPL for all we know, but I think it's the Australia feeling, the winning feeling, the feeling that we can do anything, we can overcome, and just have him in the dressing room. I think that's what he went to because it's certainly not statistical, right? It certainly doesn't make logic sense, right? So I think it's just one of those things where you want the right vibe. You want to show if we can beat Australia in a test match, we can do anything, right? I think it's a vibe thing. I don't know. I can't explain this, Shamar.
It's going to be very, very interesting. I do. Again, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I certainly can see the foundation for your argument there. I get it, and based on Sammy's nature and how he, if I can be have the temerity to suggest that Sammy believes in building a team ethos, and if he believes that Shamar and the kind of good, as you say, good vibes that comes with what he did for West Indies cricket brings and helps the energy of that team, then maybe there is a logic in all of that. Just quickly though, because I never actually came back to address the point. Just in terms of Dominic Drake's, the one thing that I think holds Drake's back, he needs, for me personally, whenever he next turns up again in domestic or international cricket, for him to really stand out, I think he needs an extra yard of pace because he's a medium pacer or medium fast if we're gonna be nice to him, right? But he doesn't. If the ball's not moving, I don't believe he's got enough in his arsenal that makes him stand out above any other of the kind of bevy of all rounders that we've got in the region, if that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think he's got a bit of work to be done in that regard. But yes, we shall see, Richard. Any further points?
Yeah, the last point is that people have to understand this. This is a tournament. Somebody's gonna get injured. The
Mm,
reserve they're very important. Like even to McCoy, you got to stay fit, stay in the reserve. Somebody will get injured. It's almost impossible that somebody doesn't get injured or something doesn't happen in this period of time. So the reserve player are just as important to get ready. So for all we know, McCoy can come in the side.
yeah, do you know what? I've heard a lot about this reserve thing, but I actually don't know how the reserve rules works in the World Cup. Like, I don't know if everyone keeps saying who's the reserves, but yeah, I just need to look into that a bit more.
I think it's meant
Like,
for injury. Like if you get a person injury, you're allowed to replace your players. I don't
right,
know if it
okay.
has to be a like. I don't know if it has to be a like for like replacement, but they know that in any big tournament there will be injuries, stuff like that. So you have a pool of players you can call upon to replace those players.
Okay, I'm going to read up on it just to kind of double check all that because I actually didn't look into it. But because otherwise we can make a lot of noise about who the reserves will be. But if it's only injury replacements, there's no guarantee those reserves ever play a role anyway. It's not like they're subs, if that makes sense. It's not like you can just sub someone in and say, you know what, this man's a rux, let me bring someone else in. But listen, plenty of time to go before the World Cup anyway. We've got to dissect some warm-up games that are happening in Jamaica, so plenty more time to talk on these things. But Richard, I'm going to bring the next guest on.
All right, have a good day.
No problem. Take care. Yeah. Yes. Thanks to Richard. Yes. Do you know what, people? Since that promotion, my phone has been pinging off 48 hours straight. People just messaging me, coming like I'm the most famous Bromley fan that people know or something. Right. Let's move. Who's next? Sachin. Sachin is next. Oh, there was a super chat actually. Mike S. Sorry, super chat. Mike says, Mash, please know I am not in support of the selection of Hetmeyer for this World Cup at all. I'm hoping that he does well, but it was a poor selection. Do you know what, Mike? I did it last week. Let me do a poll. It worked well last week. Let me do a poll. By the way, whilst I do this poll, people, press the like button. Because I have to go on the live stream myself to do the poll. What the blood? Right. So press the like button, people. Let me just quickly do this poll. You lot talk amongst yourselves for a bit. How do I do the poll again? Wait, all this doing is show some. Oh, I have to sign in them. You lot just talk amongst yourselves. I have to switch my account to my actual CCP account here. Okay, let me do this poll now. I need to get somebody who's got admin rights to just do these polls for me. It's a long day for me. Okay, check this poll out, people. Simple yes or no. Did that work? It should be in there. Right, there you go. Right. So I put the question in the live chat. Should Hetmeyer have been picked for the World Cup? Simple yes or no. I'll come back to that in a minute and see what you lot said. Right, okay. Right. Let's see did I miss any comments in the meantime? I shouldn't be leading into this mic. This mic's so good. Right, I was testing it earlier on before going live. I can be at the other end of the room and it'll just pick up the volume anyways. Anyways, Anthony says, big up CCP. I know the importance of the death overs, but we have Hussein and Multi who could be would you bowl them at the death? Remember, Multi defended 6 runs in the final over in the CPL. That's going to be my next poll question. Would you bowl Multi and Hussein at the death? Well, Akil's definitely not bowling in the death. No way. Akil's speciality in T20 is usually an over or 2 up front, depending on how it's going, and then 2 somewhere in the middle. Multi doesn't generally bowl in the power play. Multi you give the ball to as soon as the power play is done, and you bowl him through the middle section. So you'd give Multi overs number 7, 9, 11, and 13. Usually you'd bowl Multi in a 4 over stretch in the middle. Maybe not immediately because you've got a Keel there as well. You could bowl Multi 15 or 16, but would you really want Multi bowling anything after over number 16? Over 17, 18, 19, and 20. I wouldn't want Multi bowling there. Not because Multi's not good. I just wouldn't want Multi bowling any of the last 4. And same, you wouldn't want Akil bowling any of the last 4. Akil and Multi's strength is choking the opposition out in the middle overs when the field's a bit spread and etc. You've got to listen. At the end of the day, it's the job of whether it be Dre, Alzari, Shepherd, Holder, depending on who's playing. They're the pacers. It's their job to defend. It's not that we shouldn't be asking the 2 spinners to come defend the situation in the power play as well. Joe Bob says, I'm pretty sure that mic is. Yeah, it does. Joe Bob, I was looking at this earlier on. So it's currently on the setting. It's on the setting where it's like when I was looking at the picture, it's a setting where the sound is all around or something. I'm not a tech guy, so I don't really understand. But I think it means that it's taking the volume from everywhere. I think. I don't know. Send me some guide to this mic. I'm not a tech guy. I don't know what's going on. Right. Super chat from Brian. Brian says Ashwin. What's this? Who's Ashwin? I won't talk about Narayan. It's wrong according to my policy. He was also getting hit 2-3 seasons ago. This season he's been outstanding, but let's not get into that topic. Is that Ashwin as in Ravi Ashwin? Who's Ashwin? Is this what Ashwin said about Narayan? Or is there someone in this chat called Ashwin that you're responding to? Brian, help me. Thank you for the super chat, though. Right. So Ravi Ashwin. Was this recently, Brian? When did he say this? Was it a week ago? Was it 3 months ago? I'm just going to wait to see what Brian says before I respond to this. Because my answer depends on how recently he said this. 2 days ago, right? So 2 days ago, Ravi Ashwin said, I won't talk about Narayan. It's wrong according to my policy. So I'm assuming he either means it's wrong to talk about Narayan or Narayan's bowling is wrong. He was getting hit 2-3 seasons ago. This season he's been outstanding. But let's not get into that topic. So basically he's saying that Narayan is pelting. But come on, who in the Caribbean hasn't said that? Like, come on. My belief, okay, I have to be careful here because I'm already banned from Guyana, Jamaica, Barbados. So what I'm about to say could get me banned from Trinidad. So let me just try and work this one out here. Rowley might come for me. Okay, boy, it's about to be a techie one. This one might get my passport revoked from everywhere. In certain sports, Panda said, "Mash, don't do it." Are you not ready for this take? Maybe I should just relax. I'm too reckless for this show, you know. In certain sports, let me just try and be vague then. In certain sports, if you have a big enough name in the sport, and this is just this isn't just cricket, right? If you have a big enough name in a sport, it is in that sport's interest to protect that name because it would do more damage to the sport to lose the name than it would to call out whatever that person is doing. So, for example, right? Some people, not me, would say that there are very, very famous Indian cricketers who have been regular match fixers in IPL. I'm not calling any names. Some of the biggest names in Indian cricket have been match fixers. Not me. I'm not saying any names. I'm just saying. And it does not suit the sport to call out those names or have them done as match fixers because it would cause so much damage to the sport itself that you might as well just let the thing run. Some people, not me, would say that there have been some athletes who have been drug cheats. Not me. And it did not suit the sport to out those people as drug cheats because it would have finished the sport in general if you outed the name. Some people would say that. Not me, though. Not me. It does not suit IPL to call Narayan a chucker. Let's move on. I said my piece. Let us move on. This is why you'll never see me on any proper show or anything serious when it comes to West Indies cricket. I found out from someone that they said I'm too reckless, that I don't maintain the right company line. Yeah, my dad raised me to talk the thing, you know. Anyways, let's move on. Sachin, you're on next. Yes, Sachin, how you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm good.
You might as well just burn your passport. You're not leaving London. But
listen, I can't get in any Caribbean country right now. But
Mash is about to try to go to the World Cup, land at the airport, and get put on the bench back to London. But yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about West Indies World Cup squad because I got man like Tabo telling me that we're going into the Super 8s undefeated. We shouldn't lose a match. We shouldn't struggle against spin. So I'm not even going to talk about the West Indies World Cup team. But
listen, Tabo is one of the biggest ops I've ever met in my life. A real op.
Up to today, like 30 minutes ago, he put in the Discord chat that we have some players with the best strike rates in T20I. So I took my precious time and went and looked up every single player's T20I strike rate. Put it in the Discord. Man said, "Yeah, that's not good." But to the four that I think that'll qualify for the finals,
Mm.
I'm about to get run out of this chat.
Go on.
I'm gonna
Let's
say
hear what you're gonna say.
India,
Mhm.
England, Australia, and New Zealand.
India, England, Australia. This is a thing. When everybody says New Zealand, I think I can't remember who said it. Was it Richard or was it I think it was Richard. I think a lot of people expect New Zealand to always be that team that sneaks in because that's what they have a habit of doing this
Yeah.
in global tournaments. But if New Zealand sneak in, you have to then assume that West Indies aren't doing it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
That's by default because they start off in our group. Where do you have West Indies finishing?
Just outside, like fifth.
So getting into the next stage, but just not making it through to the semis.
Yeah. They should make it. Well, I was making this argument earlier. This is West Indies we're talking about. We don't know what they're gonna do, but I have them beating Afghanistan, making it into that Super Eights, but not qualifying for the semis.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I don't know. It's hard. I think like okay. So let me give an example. What people in to make a reference to Bromley, people said to me early in the season, where do you think Bromley will end the season? I said, I think if we get to Wembley, we'll win the final and we'll get promoted. And I kind of said that all season because I've studied Bromley inside out for many, many seasons. I don't think you can study T20 cricket like that. This is one of the problems I have with trying to understand how West Indies will do, because I think a lot of people look at the West Indies team and they say, oh, the batting is stacked. They can chase down anything. They can set anything. But
With the bowling.
I find with T20 that you just don't know till you know. Do you know what I mean? There's too much. It's not like Test cricket, right? In Test cricket, we expect England to beat West Indies. We expect England to beat West Indies 95 times out of 100 or maybe 98 times out of 100, right?
Yeah.
There's less variable and variance in Test cricket. You know that the better side will win. In T20 cricket, there's too many variables. You can't just look at a squad and go, yeah, they're probably going to win. Because on any given day, Nicholas Pooran could hit 147 balls. And then for every Nicholas Pooran, there could be another Nicholas Pooran type player in another team that does some. Do you see where I'm coming from? So
yeah.
As much, and this is why when I've said to people before, oh, West Indies could lose to Uganda or Papua New Guinea, I'm not saying it to catch joke. It's because T20 is, you just don't know. Nobody, to put it this way, Sachin, you see at the last World Cup, who genuinely thought, apart from me and Santoki, West Indies could lose to Scotland and Ireland here? Do you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. This is the thing I don't get with some West Indian fans. They expect us to go and roll through every associate nation. But as you said on the last Colin show, without our main players, we're just below associate level.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't expect anything from West Indies ever since that Netherlands game.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you can't say anything with confidence. So West Indies A beat Nepal 3-2. And Nepal I wouldn't consider Nepal top two associate sides.
Oh no, not at all.
If you see what I mean. So you okay, let's be honest. You would expect our best team to beat Uganda and Papua New Guinea, but you certainly cannot say with any confidence as a West Indian fan that we will definitely beat Afghanistan and New Zealand. I don't see how any West Indian fan could be confident to say we will definitely do it. So I don't know. We'll see though.
Yeah, I don't see. I as much as I want us to be the first team to win a home World Cup, You and I both know West Indies right now and the state that they're in. We could go out there and we could beat India, and we could go out there and we can lose to Uganda.
Yeah, we just don't know. We just don't know. What would be a good World Cup out of interest?
For West Indies,
Yeah.
Super 8s.
See, I don't think people think that. I think people are saying semi-finals minimum as a good. For me, I'll accept Super 8s, but I think a lot of West Indians are thinking we're getting to semi-finals minimum. Whereas my thing is the last 2 World Cups put together, we've won 1 game in the main stage
That's
of the
what I was
tournament.
looking at also.
So for me,
But you also
Super
got to
8s,
look at it
Super 8s is
from
fine.
the side that they're coming from. We're playing at home. We should expect to be somewhere in the semis. So that point I get, but other than that, I think Super 8s.
Interesting. I'm going to put that. No, I did it last week, didn't I? No, I'm going to change the question. I'm going to put a poll saying what is a good World Cup. Last week I said where do you think West Indies will end? Now I'm going to change it to what is a good performance at the World Cup. Listen, Sachin, I just seen it's 11 o'clock, so I want to get the last 2
Yeah,
on.
can I say one thing before I go?
Go on.
Someone was saying Moti Bowl in the death overs. We forget that Moti defended 6 runs versus Justin Greaves. There's no Moti in the death overs. That's my point for now, Mash.
Yeah, I hear you. Listen, we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir.
No worries, later. Right, there was somebody who asked me, right, was it you, Siren said, reply to my comment. What did you say? Hetmeyer is the king and must be there in the squad. Don't know why there's so much talking about Hetmeyer. Mayor should have been picked in place of overrated Brandon King or overrated Charles. Siren, where are you from? Out of interest. Not that it matters, but I just out of interest. That name sounds Nepalese, but you can't be Nepalese because you'd be in your bed by now. So Hetmeyer's the king. I hear you still. King Hetmeyer. Siren might be Tabo's Nepalese alter ego. Is this Siren? Are you Tabo's Nepalese burner account? Who are you, Siren? I know you're Tabo, you know. Right, so let's move on to Kevin P. We've got 2 more callers left for the show. Kevin P. 1 second, I just need to reply to this message on my phone. Right, so Roger said it was set on Omni something. I need Joe Bob to look at this, you know. I'm going to have to put this in the Discord. Let's see. Can you not see this? Let me see if I put this in here. Right, Joe Bob, look at this. I know Joe Bob is the mic man here. Joe Bob, look at those, Joe Bob. Which one? See those 4 things. Which one should I be putting it on to get the best mic thing? Sorry, people. We need some tech people to help me here. Joe Bob, which symbol should I be putting it on? And the thing is, you're going to write which one, and only if your description is good enough will I understand what you're even talking about, because what you're seeing as left to right, I don't know if it's the same left to right for me. Where's the 3rd one? I knew you'd say something that makes no sense to me. Is that the heart or is that the circle? Sorry, people. I'm speaking to my technical consultant here. The heart-shaped one. Aha. Okay, sorry, people. I'm speaking to my technical consultants. Okay. All right. The heart. Okay. I didn't realize. I had it on the circle. So what's the difference? Technical people, what's the difference? What was the circle one had everything shaded in? I guess the heart one's looking right at my mouth. Anyway, thank you to the technical consultants. Let's bring on Kevin P. Different? Is it different? Brian says it's different already. Bloody hell, I don't even know. Is it sounding different, people? Bloody hell, the technical consultants say the sound is different. Sounds the same to me. Quality is up. Rod says the quality is up. Joe Bob, when this is done, get in the Discord and tell me why the quality is up, please, because I don't see why that changed anything, but apparently we're up again. Anyways, Kevin P, you're on. Let's move. Yes, Kevin P, how you doing?
Good night, Mash. I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
All right. So, we touch on the World Cup quickly, and then we move on to some proper cricket. Looking forward to England in July.
Yes, yes.
All right. First question: will the CCP team be in the Caribbean for any of the games? The West Indies are kicking off their tournament in Guyana, so are you guys coming to Guyana?
The only game I can legitimately get to is the first one, which is I think it's in Guyana against Uganda. I think
Yep.
that's the only one I think I could try and do just because of work and how to make it work. I have been going back and forth as to whether I should do it or not. And the only reason why I think I won't is because even if I do it, it'd have to be like I'd be in Guyana for no more than 3 days. And I'm just trying to work out, would I really fly to Guyana for just 3 days to watch one match and then come home again? But never say never. Never say never. If Irfan Ali gives me a free ticket, then I'm coming.
Yeah. But looking forward to the World Cup. I've already got my tickets. Going to the two West Indies games in Guyana, and then I think the New Zealand Afghanistan game. I think that should be a very good game.
Mm-hmm.
So, looking forward to it because the next World Cup in the Caribbean, they may not be a West Indies, probably 20 years away. So we'll see. We'll see. On the squad is a squad. No point in arguing about it. We can say who we'd like to be, whatever. But the selection committee, they seem very excited. They think they can win the World Cup. So it is a squad. We'll be there. We'll watch. Might not wear my shirt, but because you never know what'll happen. Uganda roll us over, PNG roll us. But yeah, my chance the hat, the cap, but definitely I don't think I'm going with a shirt, even though I've ordered it. But we'll see. We're hoping to be there in the final, but
I hear you.
It's West Indies. So, anyways, that's it for the World Cup. On to the test series.
Mm-hmm.
A question for you. We had our keeper currently is our premier keeper is the Silva.
Yeah.
In the 4-day tournament, Imlak, he's done relatively well. He had 485 runs, 200 3 half centuries. Do you think he keeps his spot as the backup keeper, or does this guy from Jamaica, Bowen Tuckett, because he also had a good tournament? Does he get in? Do you think he gets a look in, or maybe just the 18?
Do you know what? I'm going to throw you a curveball. I think the right thing to do is that obviously Josh keeps his spot, and it should be Imlak as the backup. And the reason why Imlak should go as the backup is because the advantage of both Josh and Imlak is technically it allows you to go with one less batter, because there is an argument to say that both Imlak and Josh could play as a batter in and of themselves. Now, some people obviously will say they're not good enough, but then the people in the region aren't significantly better than them either, right? So I see Imlak as a batter first and a wicketkeeper second. That's me personally. I'm not saying he's not a good wicketkeeper. I just think actually he possibly offers more with the bat than when I look at his wicket-keeping skills, if that makes sense. So
I can see that because the Guyana Harp Eagles tournament was largely down to the middle order, bailing them out many games, and he came in at times where they were in pretty bad shape and kind of gritted his way through. So I can see what you're saying, where you're coming from.
Now here's the curveball, Shea Hope. That's the curveball. Now, I think it's probably too soon for it to happen for England, but it is inevitable that Shea Hope will come back to the test team at some point in time. Now, the question I've got around Shea Hope is, how does he get back into the West Indies test team? I don't know if he gets back in as a pure batter or if he can get in as a wicketkeeper who challenges. Not even necessarily challenges, because again, De Silva and Imlak are technically good enough to challenge the top 5 batters in and of themselves. So there is that in the background. There's just that curveball of Shea Hope where I'm like, well, actually, if Hope was to come back in, it could be as a wicketkeeper, which frees up Josh, Imlak, whoever, to be batters in and of their own right. But we shall see. I think what's more likely to happen is that it will be Josh and Imlak that go to England.
All right. I mean, if I guess the Shea Hope thing is if he really wants to get back in, then maybe he plays the next 4-day, or not all of it, but some of it, or maybe he tries to get a 4-day contract in England and see how he goes. But just bring him Shea Hope back because he's Shea Hope in the test team. It's one of those things that for me doesn't make sense. But hey, this is West Indies cricket, so you never know.
Exactly. No, and let me just clarify. It don't make sense. I agree with you. It doesn't make sense. But there seems to be Shea Hope is one of the few players in the region who has his own premium, which means that no matter what he's doing, people call his name regardless, right? So I that's why I say his name, because I know there's a premium around him where people think he should just be in and around every format of cricket in West Indies, no matter what. So there's no point in me ignoring that elephant in the room because I know some people call his name.
Yep. All right. The bowlers for England. Well, okay. Let's say we go to the finals, and the England series starts a few days after. We have Alzari, we have Shamar there, and Holder, who are part of the test team. Does this mean, or is there, if this should happen, is there a possibility that Anderson Phillip gets to go to England? Because he did relatively well in the 4-day. Where was he in terms of wickets? Anderson Phillip. I think he was
the second best pacer in the tournament, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, 29 wickets behind Jeremy Louis.
Jeremiah Louis, yeah.
Yeah, so does he get a chance to go to England? Because Anderson Phillip doesn't lose his spot. He was out due to injury and he just hasn't made it back as yet. So and he's done very well this year. 29 wickets in 7 games. It's good enough.
It all depends on how big the squad is that goes to England. And if West Indies would travel with somebody in effectively a reserve spot, if like you said, if for argument's sake we got to the final, then you are I would find it very hard to believe that they would play Alzari Joseph in the first test. The only player in the region, who can match the pace of Joseph of both Josephs is probably Anderson Phillip. I think Anderson Phillip would likely be a runs machine in England on flat tracks, but he's the only person who can bowl at the pace of both the Josephs. So I see the argument to bring him, but only in a reserve position, because technically your bowling cadre is already Holder, Joseph, Roach, Seals. That's already 5 fast bowlers, right? So are you really going to bring another seamer who's likely to not play? And it's not like there's many warm-up games to test them out in or anything like that. But in theory and on paper, I agree with your point of view, but only if they're carrying a reserve.
Gotcha. Joshua Bishop. I see he's actually ended up at the top wicket taking the 4-day. I really haven't seen a lot of his bowling, so I don't know how good he is. Does he get into the 18?
Yes.
We know.
Wait, is he going to Ireland? Was he named? Have we named the academy side yet to go to Ireland? We haven't. Have we named it?
No, I haven't seen that.
Oh, okay. Should he be in the A team? Yes, he should. But if he goes to the A team, then Ashmead Ned can't, because a lot of this depends on what happens with Jamel Warrican. I think Jamel Warrican was the top wicket taker. Was he the?
Yeah, Jamel Warrican, Ned, then Cornwall.
Right. Okay. So Warrican is the incumbent left arm bowler after Gudakesh Moti, right? You'd assume, therefore, that Warrican plays A-team cricket. Then you've only really got space for one other left armer, and that what you have to ask yourself is who deserves the chance first, Bishop or Ned? I say Bishop because they'll probably say that Bishop has the ability to bat as well and has shown some all-round ability. But then you have to look at, are we by having someone like Warwican there, which I think is likely, are we preventing the progress of Ashmead Ned? But then also a lot of this depends on who's going to Ireland for that 18 series as well. So maybe they'll get some cricket there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, we got there are a lot of options with spinners in Caribbean. Doesn't mean they're that good, but yeah, well, maybe except probably Cornwall, but he's not. He's looking like they're done with Cornwall.
Yeah, he's done.
Um,
He's done.
yeah. Just one other thing on Shamar. I mean, Shamar Joseph, that is. He's gonna go to England, but he hasn't had any long format cricket since Australia.
Mhm.
Have we, by bringing him into this T20 squad without a T20 record behind his name, instead of having him, play some forward? I mean, yeah, he wasn't available for the 4-day here, but are we now expecting him to switch from T20 mode straight back into red ball cricket mode for the England series? How does this affect his development? Because it's not like Shamar Joseph is someone who's been around for a long time. It's just we're riding on what he did in Australia, yes, and expecting that, and the expectation will be that when he goes to England, he repeats that without having the long form cricket behind him.
There is a worry with Shamar that let's see how he goes in the World Cup. So this point I'm about to make may be redundant depending on what happens in the World Cup. But there's a worry with Shamar that we believe that he is the savior of West Indies cricket, right?
True.
So obviously he did what he did in Australia, and a lot of the it's like we want to put pressure and expectation on his shoulders. If you see where I'm coming from. Now, West Indies want to win the World Cup. The World Cup is now. Hear me out, because this could sound crazy, what I'm about to say. Is Shamar Joseph going to the World Cup the best thing for Shamar Joseph? Or have we just jumped on a hype train and said, well, boy, this man is the savior of West Indies cricket. Look what he did in Australia. We have to pick him. We've got no option. That pace is terrifying. We can't not pick him because that could be an X factor in T20 cricket, without anybody wondering if that's the best thing for Shamar Joseph at this point in his career. Now, another nation possibly wouldn't even consider picking Shamar Joseph because they might say, you know what, let him just chill off and cool. Let him chill off and cool, and let's just develop him nicely. Now, before anyone says to me, Mash, you don't know what you're talking about. India have, I don't know who's in India's World Cup squad, but is that fast man in India's World Cup squad? What's his name? Those who watch IPL, what's that guy's name? Mayank something. He bowls 150 clicks. I can't remember the guy. Is it Yadav? Those of you in the chat who watch IPL, is that fast boy in the India's World Cup team? This will prove my point if I'm right or wrong. Mayank something. Mayank Yadav. Is he in there? Is he in their squad? Yes or no?
Yeah, I can't remember seeing his
I'm going to
name
come back to you in a minute.
Sure.
Kevin, I'm going to come back to you in a minute, depending on what people say in the chat. He's not in the squad. Right, okay, here we go. Mayank Yadav in this year's IPL has been bowling consistently 150 clicks, right? He's injured apparently. But anyways, he's been bowling 150 clicks. India haven't fast-tracked him into their squad. Apparently he's injured anyway, so maybe my point's redundant. But I guess, Kevin, what I'm saying to you is, where's the line between developing Shamar at the right pace and West Indies' lack of resources, meaning that we just have to put him in the team regardless? Where do you draw that line? Me personally, I'm not comfortable with Shamar being in the World Cup squad already. And I think that's not the right developmental trajectory for him. But I'm also willing to concede that maybe we just simply haven't got the resources that the larger nations have, and that if we find one good player, we just have to run them into the ground till they can't bowl no more. Where do you stand on that?
We like to pin this term of savior on people in Caribbean cricket. But I think the problem we have is that we don't long term plan, and that is West Indies cricket. They don't long term plan, right? And we're always having to think about right now, and it's a case of yeah we've had the last two World Cups have been disastrous, T20 World Cups. We're not going to the next 50 over World Cup. We need something now. So it's a case of let's throw everything that we can at this World Cup, and hopefully we get there. I don't agree with it, but it is the reality of where our cricket is. I mean,
Look at
if
some.
by some miracle we do win this World Cup, it'll paper over a whole lot of cracks, and we'll ride a high for a few months, and we'll be back at the same position shortly afterwards.
So and to prove my kind of point here, I look at someone like Alzari Joseph. You could even argue Jaden Seals. Once we see a good player, Jaden Seals and Alzari Joseph basically got shoved into the West Indies team quick. Alzari did what he did at Under-19 World Cup, straight into the senior side. Jaden did what he did at the Under-19 World Cup, straight into the senior side. We don't, and I think it's what you said, we don't. I feel that we're not very good at planning out a player's natural development. From when you're good, you're just in. And now people turn around and they say, "Oh, Alzari Joseph looks like he's been bowled into the ground." Well, that's because we bowled him into the ground. That's what we know. We bowled him into the ground and very rarely ever rested him at any point in time. And there's just, like I say, if it all comes off and we win the World Cup, nobody will be talking about this. But if my point is right, we could see a situation where Shamar Joseph is basically put into everything: ODIs, T20s, test matches, bowled all the time, basically till he breaks down. Do you see where I'm coming from? Let's not forget, he's only just come onto the scene. He's only just got here. So I don't know.
I think one of the other problems we have is that after our 4-day competition is done, after the Super Fifth is done, we don't have we don't have structures in place where these guys can go back now and continue working on their skills. They go back basically to club level, which is far below what the level that they should be at and should be trying to maintain in their off time. So it's like, okay, you progress in through a tournament, you improve a little, but then immediately after you regress. That doesn't help the development of the players and their skill sets.
It's going to be very, very interesting. I mean, for those, I don't know if there's anybody in the chat who works in sports, but I guess the best way I can describe it and try to kind of bring the point to an end. In sports science, they call it load management, right? And where you have good sports science departments, and this is in any sport, in any discipline, when a player should be resting versus when they should be doing their maximum bowling load versus when they shouldn't play at all, etc. I'm not saying West Indies don't do that, but I am saying that underneath the West Indies level, particularly around the region, I'm not sure how consistent that is. And this is why I think when players turn up at West Indies level, we see such a level of just general inconsistency around performance and so on and so forth. But like I say, we shall see. We shall see. It could go any which way.
Yeah, just kind of wrapped up. Question, something for discussion probably later on, is how is the IPL and the BCCI by extension, how are they negatively impacting the development of cricket to smaller cricketer nations that are already established, as well as hindering growth of the game? I mean, you have the IPL who has its own special window, and then you have these IPL teams buying up leagues, buying up teams, and all the other leagues, trying basically controlling the game at that level. Something we can discuss at another level, but something for thought. Before I
we need to. Do you know what? That's too big a question. But that's too big a question. It's too big a question for me to give a snap answer to.
But something we can circle back to at another time. Maybe after the World Cup and all these things, everything else is settled down.
Yeah, for real. What I will just say is I did see a news item. Was it? I can't remember if it was. What day is it today? It must be last week, where the PSL potentially wants to move their window to compete with the IPL.
I think I saw that today.
And when I saw that, I was like, okay, now things are heating up.
That's going to be interesting. But I don't think it's going to happen. We'll see. The BCCI has its might and its control over things, so I can see it now. I can see that changing, and PSL just goes back into their little corner. But time will tell.
Indeed. Listen, Kevin, I'm gonna call it a close there and wrap the show. But thank you so much for
no worries. Just one thing before we go. I just hope Chairman Hadimaya does not miss the bus to the stadium.
Listen, the game is in Guyana. Surely the first game is in Guyana. Surely this man can make it to the World Cup. Surely, but we shall see.
All right, man. Good night, buddy.
All right, no worries. Take care. Yes, people. Sorry, let's see some points. Osprey. IPL development is poor. They want finished articles for the money they're spending, not to develop players. That's why they buy up other franchise leagues to do. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I agree with that second point. Yeah, it's not really a developmental tool to buy the other leagues. It's to just get the players when they're ready in the other leagues or look like they are possibly ready. Yeah, listen, people, did I miss any? There's something I starred. This is it. Steve, sorry, I starred this to come back to it. Steve says, can we link up one day at the pub and chat some cricket for us? And yeah, Steve, listen, so I haven't actually planned it out properly yet. What Santoki and I are thinking of doing for the test matches is essentially just bringing in our own mics and stuff and just recording content in the grounds and just doing our own shows. Kind of like what, what's their names? Kind of like what those Last Word people do. Jared Kimber does it, where you essentially just do your show in the ground. So anyways, the point being that, yeah, well, by all means, of course, meetups before the game, meetups after the game, so on and so forth. Don't see why not. And I'll certainly be at the Lord's Test and whatever the third one is. Can't remember. I think the third one's at Edgbaston. I'll certainly be there for that one. Trent Bridge is the one that's looking a bit difficult just because I've got some other things going on. But Lords and Edgbaston, 100%. Trent Bridge, have to wait and see how I make that one work. But yeah, Steve, if you're still on, 100% that can happen. And furthermore, that's for anybody who's in the UK. If you're at any of those test matches, just let me know. DM me and we'll make it happen, man. Listen, people, 222 of you in the live. I think at one point it got up to like 270 something. Before you go, like it, share, subscribe, all of that. Joe Bob's still here. How many likes is it, Joe Bob? Actually, maybe I can see. Wait, what? How many likes are we on? Joe Bob, how many likes are we on? Anyways, like 2 likes. Nah, man, let me mash up this mic and this laptop right now. Got me out here speaking for 1 hour and 20 minutes for 2 likes. Anyways, people, like the video, share, subscribe, etc., etc. It was bank holiday today in the UK, which means we had the day off, but I have to go back to work tomorrow, which means I need to go to my bed, which is why I started the show so early today. Yeah, take care of yourselves, people. What's on the horizon? Let me check my diary. What have we got on the horizon, West Indies cricket-wise? Nothing this week, which must means, because there's nothing going on West Indies cricket-wise this week, it must mean some level of drama is going to happen in West Indies cricket. Whenever it's a quiet week, somebody does an absolute madness in West Indies cricket. So look out for some shows, some content, some shorts, lives, all of that. And yeah, speak to you lot soon, Catch you soon. Thank you for tuning in. I'll be Machel St. Patrick here at 1/2 the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. Thank you and good night.
We rule the cricket world. Now the rule seems coming.
Welcome to the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things West Indies cricket. By the fans, for the fans.